everyone to our special called board meeting for June 21st at 7 p.m. This evening's special call meeting is on the millage rate. As you know, we are holding several meetings for the budget and for the millage rate. Tonight's topic is the millage rate. So when it comes to public participation, it's on the millage rate. I would like to start by welcoming everyone and with our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. All right, we have an agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve this agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Cleveland, second by Ms. Morrissey. All in favor? We are going to start the meeting with before we do public hearing, with the presentation from Mr. Atha on the millage rate.
Can you hear me all right? Okay, good evening. As you know, Georgia law requires the school system to calculate and present a rollback millage rate. Those rates have been calculated and they are as presented. In FY22, current fiscal year, the M&O millage rate is 17.3 mils, and the debt service millage rate is 2.418 mils. For FY23, the proposed millage rate for M&O is 17.3, and for debt service, 1.418. And the rollback rate for the M&O is calculated to be 14.925. And the rollback rate for the debt service is calculated to be 2.088.
Are there any questions or comments? No? All right, thank you. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? So moved. So moved by Ms. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cleveland. All in favor? All right, this evening we have 6 speakers on the millage rate, and I do have a policy for public participation, but I'm not going to highlight all 6 of them. We will allow 3 minutes per speaker. It has to be topic specific, and we have a new system in place. So those that weren't at the previous meeting, we no longer using flashcards. We are using the light that's right here at the podium. You will see 3 lights in front of you. The green light means you're good. You have 3 minutes. The yellow light at 30 seconds will come on. And then when you have 10 seconds left, the yellow light will flash. And then the red light means that your 3 minutes are up, and we'll ask you to finish your public comment. All right? Like I said, it's for the millage rate tonight. And our first speaker is Todd Peak.
Yeah, hello, my name's Todd Peak. I'm in District 3, and I'm coming to the meeting next Tuesday because I did not get a call back from my commissioner. I think I did talk to you, Wes. You called me, and so I here at the meeting. So I know we got a short time here, but I want you to think about this. What you're doing now is one of the most important things that you can do for the county. Remember, you do not represent the kids. You don't represent whatever. You represent the voters of Forsyth County. Now, we're not a democracy. We're not a republic. We are a representative democracy, if you look at your law, which means the voters put power in the hands of a few people. And your position here is strictly only from the voters. Without us, you're nothing. No, I don't mean disrespecting. What I'm saying is that's the law, and that's the way you're supposed to act. You're supposed to act in the wishes of the voters. And people don't vote. Well, it's like, you give away your Fifth Amendment rights. Well, you didn't vote. Well, that's not. You had the choice to vote, but you didn't. You represent the voters. And so I want to make sure you think about this and real hard about you're taking money from me. Like, I think my school taxes are going up $1,000 this year based on current. I think it goes down to only $500. But when I came into Forsyth County in 2009, I paid $2,200 in taxes. Millage was 15 point, 395, the M&O, talking M&O only. This year, I'm gonna be paying $38.57, less 500 if we go to the 1495. So still, now if we just did a 2%, starting from then, now I'm an international tax guy and I do valuations of the companies, and so we always look at 2% growth, regardless if it's up or down, up or down. If you evaluate a company 20 years, you use 2%, because when I came in 2009, the market went like that, and then it went back up. And so you could say, well, what do you say, a 2% sliding? Just grow. I pay more taxes when the market goes down, then I'm only paying $28.81 based upon 2% growth, even in, in years that that the market went down, because your whole budget is based upon the market. I know the millage hasn't moved. I think in 2015 it moved. And I think, Wes, you and I talked, one of the things that the board has not done is the floating exemption. And the whole reason for this, people say, oh, your value will go up, but we'll reduce the millage rate, so you come into the county and you don't get killed with taxes, which is what you're doing to me, that you're going to vote us, you're going to raise the taxes so high that I got to move. The whole reason for this was, well, you come in the county, the people coming into the county, they pay for the extra taxes. But my time is up. Thank you very much.
Thanks for speaking. And then the next one is Jesse, is it? Hackerberg, yes.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I live city Cumming, Forsyth County. I've never spoken at one of these things before first, so I just don't know how you kind of like do the whole thing. So I'm just gonna read what I wrote, and hopefully you follow it. I want to start by saying I respect and value the Forsyth County as a whole, as a place to live, and the education that we get from these benefits of property taxes. I myself am somebody who benefits from the special education services for my children. But in trying to figure this out, you guys have made it almost completely impossible to follow from what happens in other counties and this county. And what I can say is that somebody who has lived here since 2016, I've seen nothing but a steady increase of the funding for these millage rates going to the education, which is a good thing, but at the same time has to be controlled at some point. We don't take into consideration families that have set budgets and already stretched dollars for what they have to spend. And when you have, like in my case, a false inflated property value based on a crazy scenario of 2020 now doubling my quote-unquote property value, therefore making my increase this year about $1,500 on top of what my property tax bill was last year, you are stifling all of us as homeowners. You can smartly invest in the education by changing your budget, by increasing it by $60 million this year and still not justifying that on top of like all of the other raises. I do think millage and budget go together, so I don't know how you have this conversation outside of that. Like, you are literally just expanding for fun in some cases and building new things instead of investing in property you've already purchased that you should have purchased larger sections of to then invest in and make a school taller instead of building another one down the road. You're not being smart about your investment. You're killing the citizens of this county by forcing them out of the county to find another place to go when they already came here for a reason to begin with. You, by not being smart and considering to even let the voters vote on a floating homestead exemption, by you all agreeing that it could even go to the Gold Dome, is irresponsible and makes me nauseous and makes so many people nauseous, and they don't come here to speak because they're confused about the numbers. I went to art school. I'm trying to figure this out just by guessing, and I can't get a clear answer. All I know is how much it costs every time I get that bill in the mail, and that it makes my heart want to stop. And you have to consider that and be smarter about how you're investing and supporting the community by letting us vote on a floating homestead exemption. If it's not a majority, then it's not a majority, but give us the chance. That's why you guys are here, to help us, not to hurt us.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brian Martin.
Good evening. I'm a 33-year resident of Forsyth County. I watched the meeting this morning online. I heard in the recorded meeting that there was inflation, that it was inconceivable to believe that we were going to be able to spend the same amount of money on gasoline that we did last year, that there were more students, so there would need to be more staff. The budget says, I believe, 283 new headcount, somewhere in the tune of 24 million. I may be reading it incorrectly, but that's the way I read it. I get that there are more students, higher fuel costs, higher wages that need to be spent to be competitive. These are things that all the residents of Forsyth County are feeling. $125 to fill my tank of gas last week. Crazy expensive groceries, everything. But here's the difference between the school budget and every homeowner here. The longtime homeowner and cash machine for the school system can't just go out and adjust his salary and earning potential to support this growth. I get that some people here want to grow. I get that it's a revenue thing. Make growth pay for it. We have to stop penalizing those who have hoped to make this their last move. I could care less what my home is worth on the open market or what it appraises for, because I'm not selling it. You are asking me to pay a bill that is an unrealized gain with every single tax bill. I don't have a mortgage. God forbid if I did. I'm probably sharing too much here, but it's important. My home, by its appraisal and assessment, has gone from $572,000 in 2020 to an estimated $856,000 in 2022. My tax bill from over $6,000 to now almost $9,000. It's almost a mortgage payment by itself. I'm being billed for an unrealized gain. It's not coming out of my home. I can't cash flow that. It's coming out of my pocket. The bottom line is, don't spend money you don't have. Or said another way, stop going to the well of the residents of the county and funding this assessment by their homes. 80% of the school budget comes from my home, these folks' homes. Stop it. It has to stop. It's borderline criminal. The millage rate has stayed the same for the last 8 years, yet my tax bill has gone up 38% in 3 years. We have not been done any favors by holding the rate stagnant, so nobody pat themselves on the back. It's time to do something different. Roll the millage rate back. Do it differently. If we need more schools and more staff for the new residents and students, then you have to figure out a way to pay for it some other way, but not off the backs of the people who've been here for 33 years.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Our next speaker is Ryan Disker. Did I pronounce that correctly? Is that? No, that's okay. No, fix it, please. Let me know. Disher. Oh, so that's an H?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first, thank you for serving. As a former HOA board member for Grand Cascades, I know it can be very thankless, so I do appreciate that. 2 weeks ago, I opened my property tax assessment. I'm still in shock. An $800 increase, which was 18%. That comes on top, at least for me, of 4+ years of 6% and 7% increases. My property taxes have now surpassed my state income taxes. Property assessments have skyrocketed. They'll continue to in subsequent years. But because you're keeping the millage rate the same, you are aware you're voting in one of the largest tax increases in the history of this county on homeowners. This school board does not work for Dr. Beard and the superintendent. It's your job to provide accountability and oversight. But what I see a board as just simply a rubber stamp of whatever budget he brings you. I could be off in my numbers, but it's my understanding the budget increase is about a $50 million increase to around $575 million. A new school, 280 new staff members, a step increase and a large salary increase for staff. Could we not provide a quality education for maybe $550 million or $525 million? Have you pushed back on the superintendent here or asked him to run models at different spending levels? This superintendent has never found a dollar he didn't want to spend. It's my understanding that Todd Jones, Greg Dolezal, Alfred Johns, and the county commissioners advocated for millage rate rollback to help mitigate some of the tax increase. I also understand the county commissioners advocated to spread the massive assessment over a 3-year period, but Ms. Morrissey on behalf of the school board, said no to the assessors. We were perfectly fine as a school board for this massive tax increase, thus hammering us as residents who are all struggling due to inflation. Maybe we can't afford step increases and massive salary increases, new lacrosse fields, crisis advocates, which, by the way, did you even look at a volunteer program? We have a ton of retirees that could have signed up to do that instead of just adding to the school government bureaucracy. I've heard the excuses before. We spend $23 per day per student. We spend the lowest compared to other systems of Title IX money. But the tax base is already growing. We have new people moving in and new businesses all paying new taxes. And honestly, who compares themselves to other government schools? Like, anyone considers that to be a bastion of fiscal accountability. It's the rate in tax increase that you're proposing that is so hurtful. Most of you are Republicans, but you're running effectively as blue blood tax and spend San Francisco progressives. Most of the people don't understand what a millage rate is, but they're in panic. I've talked to my neighbors. They're sitting at their kitchen table trying to figure out what to do. I'm one of them. How do I pay for this 18% in tax increase? Do I pull my kids out of schools, cancel our annual vacation where we make family memories, or cut back dramatically on our grocery bill despite inflation? So these are questions residents across the county are asking. And Lindsay?
That's fine. Well, if you could just communicate through me.
Okay,
But
sure.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. The next speaker is Charles Salabur. Charles Salabur.
Be very short and sweet. I don't have anything prepared other than I moved here in 2016 and I opened up my tax bill like most of the folks behind me, and I had a $1,600 increase year over year. That's substantial. I'm not gaining anything off my house. I'm not selling my home, not moving anywhere. I moved here because this is a good area to live, a good area to raise your family, and I have bills to pay. I have a professional job that I have to do, and I have 3 children I take care of. And for me, it's very important to live in a good community, support your family, and have a good place to live. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Vinay Raja.
Hello, everyone. I did see today's YouTube video, the morning one, so as soon as I came back from work, I just ran here. Wasn't able to do any quick math on this. I see my tax increase, my assessment increase by about 30%. And from the rollback, I approximate it's going to be still an increase of about 15%. So what would the inflation be? I think it'll be good to have some kind of a cap, 3 to 5% or so, just like how everybody else gets paid. We all get paid with an increase at 3% or 5%. So same way, it should be the same way that everybody else's budget should be. So this way we can handle this inflation. I've heard about this floating homestead. I think that's something that should be considered. And this rollback was only mentioned today, and people don't have the time to still process this. And if the public comments is a little later, that'll help people see by what percent is the actual increase or decrease, and then be able to speak up. So I did a rough math only after coming here 5 minutes before the meeting, and I still see, even after rollback, it's probably about 15% increase from prior years. If that's correct, that's quite a bit of a change. Most of my neighbors, including me, we are seeing 25-30% increase in assessment. That should not be exactly how much needs to be collected. The budget shouldn't be that high. So something isn't making sense there. So hopefully it gets looked at, and I'm with most of everybody else who spoke. That it needs to be, a cap should be there. That's probably what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public participation for this millage rate hearing. Our next millage rate meeting will be on June 28th at 5:30 PM in this building. And then immediately after that public participation, there will be a final approval at 6 PM on the same date in the same room here. Any further comments, questions? All right, is there a motion to close this meeting? The public hearing meeting.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Morrissey, second by Tom Cleveland. All in favor? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn today's meeting? So moved by Ms. Light, second by Ms. Adams. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned.